Hey guys, welcome back to Bearded Lumber. Matthew and I appreciate you tuning in. We're over in our chainsaw building today. We got a couple projects working on, sharpening some blades. Got to work on sharpening some saws. Had some unfortunate material we hit, so hang on, we'll talk about it in just a minute. Okay guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna have Matthew throw in a little clip here of what we hit with the chainsaw. It wasn't good, so. Okay, you heard that nasty sound? We found a, oh, there it is. Matthew brought it over here. It's not a wood screw. It's a machine bolt. It's got threads on it, and it was probably about 10 inches long, and we cut it off with a chainsaw. Now you can bet that didn't do my 4-foot bar and chain any good. So we're over here in chainsaw building. I'm going to take it off, see how many teeth we ripped off, see if it's even repairable. If it's not, I do have chain I can put on it. Take that back, Matthew. All my 404 chain is ripping chain. It's a crosscut chain. It's not ripping chain. So we may have to fix it either way. So let me get it off here and just run it around my hand, see what kind of mess we got. If you ever worked on one of these old Huskies, they're pretty easy to come apart. Take your two nuts off, loosen your tensioner, pull your cover off. Now on these old Huskies, the tensioner is here. The modern saws, they put them here, a little easier accessible, but they haven't changed the design of these. One quick tech tip. This is your chain brake. Sorry, Matthew didn't turn the camera down. This is a chain brake. Make sure when you take this off the saw, the chain brake is released. It's in the back position. If it's forward and you yank this off the saw, this spring right here will give you a fit trying to get it tightened back up. Learned that from experience. So always make sure your chain brake is disengaged when you take it off the saw. If you force it off there and the chain brake on, you're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna be YouTubing a lot trying to figure out how to get that tension back on that spring the right way. So let me get the chain off here. This is the worst part about that saw is that big old heavy bar. Okay, here's our chain. There's a tooth destroyed. Let's see. We got tape here somewhere. Just put a piece of tape on it so I know when I've been all the way around. There's one. Where's that one at? 2, 3.
Oh yeah, I didn't do the bar no favors either.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 48-inch chain. Well, it's longer than that because it's doubled. But I counted over 10 teeth that were missing. So this chain's shot. Ain't nothing I can do to repair that. Crap. These are quite expensive chains. You didn't hear the phone call I just had with the owner of that log for them to figure out what we wanted to do. But yeah, this is why you always talk metal when you're dealing with new customers, so they understand that there's a cost involved with this, and that's why I called them. They thought I was mad because I hit metal. I'm not mad about hitting metal. It's just the cost of doing business. I tried to explain to him that he's spending money, and the further I go, the more he's going to spend. And I want to know where you want to stop at. You know, you're already into a $50 chain. How many of these $30 saw blades do you want me to stick in there before I quit? And it wasn't technically his log. It was for one of his customers, so he was going to contact them. I said, well, I just need to know how far you want to go before I quit, because, you know, I'm spending your money, you know, because you're going to buy a chain, and if I run 2 or 3 blades, you're going to buy 2 or 3 blades. That's just, it's your tree, and you're going to pay for it. So now, got to find something to do with it. What about the bar?
It didn't do it any favors either, because right where you hit it, it actually made the chain start digging in.
Yeah, I got a bar file. I can file the bar. These are no joke, people. These 48-inch bars, yeah, you're getting in the $300-400 bar range. You definitely don't want to mess them up. I'd like to have one of those lightweight ones, but I ain't paying for that right now. We put one on our 372, and I love it. It makes a world of difference. Well, a little less than twice the price of a good husky bar, but man, you pick that saw up and it's not nose heavy anymore. So if you never tried one of their X-Tough lights, I recommend them. They're a good bar. So let me see what we're gonna do, and I'll come back to you in just a second. Okay, guys, I'm back. Decided what we're gonna do. One thing real quick, this is for my daughter. Gardner Webb alumni. I think she actually sent me his shirts. I'd wear it occasionally. I don't have any crosscut chain available right this second. I've got a whole roll of ripping chain, and I had a couple ripping chains made up for this bar. I got one here that's dull, so what I decided to do is I'm going to take it from a ripping chain to a crosscut. Now, a lot of you are going to grumble about doing that, but it's just simple with this is a Harbor Freight chain sharpener, and I've set the angle to 25 degrees instead of, 510 on a ripping chain. So we're gonna make a crosscut chain out of this one to get by, because we need this saw up and running, because probably gonna need to finish sawing that log that we killed the chain on. You can't be in no hurry, because the tooth is basically flat, and I'm rolling the angle back to 25 degrees. I'm not taking anything off the front other than just a little bit to get it sharp, but most of it's coming out of that angle. So I'll show you one, and then I won't bore you with the rest of them, because there's a whole bunch of them here to do. I'm gonna get a little closer, Matthew. You can see this tooth is square, and we're wanting to roll it back to this miter, so just have to go slow. I got my stop set so I don't go too deep, and this is it's not a full chisel chain, it's a rollover, but that's sharp. That will cut. No, it's not ideal, but this chain was already dulled. It needed to be sharp. I've got plenty of ripping chain, and we need a cross cut, so that's what we're going to do. Let me run through all these. I've actually took my 372 and was cutting, trying to get that bolt out of there. I nicked it, so I'm gonna have to sharpen it. And our little Milwaukee electric saw is dull, and it needs sharpened. So, a lot of sharpening today. Okay guys, got our chain run through the sharpener. I'm not a big fan of these, but there is a time to use them. Anytime you hit metal, especially, you try to file that chain and it'll start cutting left or right with you. These electric chainsaw sharpeners are good about squaring the chain back up to where it'll cut straight. And I always sharpen them by hand. I prefer sharpening them by hand until they get out of whack. Now this one, we run it on there because we were taking it from a 5 degree to a 25 degree, going from wrist chain to a cross cut. It did okay. I'll clean it up a little bit better the first time I file it. Now, while we got our chainsaw tore apart, we're gonna do a little preventive maintenance cleanup. These are not cheap chainsaws, people. This is not your 450 Rancher or whatever. These chainsaws cost a lot of money. New 372 is around $1,400. One of these with a bar, you're over $3 grand. So maintenance is very important. Like I say, we got the chain guard off here. We'll go ahead and blow all this out. Make sure all our oil passages are good. I got the air filter out. It needs good cleaning. I'll take the bar and blow out the oil ports, get all the crap out of it. I've actually got a bar file. I'll probably file the bar just a little bit. If you don't have one of these, you gotta buy one. It's specially designed to push oil into the roller tip on your bar. Every time you think about it, squirt a little oil in it or grease, make it last longer. So, when we get this blowed off, cleaned up, we'll put it back. Okay guys, it goes without saying this is a good time to nut bolt your saw while you got it in the park. Matthew and I were sawing the other day and the 2 muffler bolts fell out. Got loose, fell out. Luckily we found them, put them back in, but while you got the saw apart, good time to check, especially on your dogs, on your muffler, anything you can get to, because screws get loose, they fall out. So, we get this put back together and we'll work on the bar a little bit.
Let's do it now, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay guys, if you watched that, I was running my fingers down the edge of this bar. Be very careful. This will be razor sharp the longer you run this chain. So that you got metal chain riding on a metal bar, and that's when I took that file to it to take that sharpness off of it. And as you start feeling it wear digging in, it's wore out. It's time to replace it. This was nowhere near wore out. I just cleaned it up a little bit while I had it off. If you can see, here's your oil hole or grease hole in the end of that bar, and that'll grease this roller tip. So I'm gonna put some grease in it. Take a little tool. Wait for it to recharge. That's probably enough, but I like to see it squirt out. There it comes. Sit on this side of the bar. Now, you only got to buy these things one time, people. They try to say you use it to it's empty and throw it away. It's got a plunger like a syringe. Pull that plunger back, load it up with grease, put it back in there, and keep on using it. As long as you don't mess that plunger up where you can't pull it out, you can keep using it from now on. Now, last tech tip on this, you need to turn your bar over from time to time. I don't know why they did this. It's wrong way that way, but if I turn it around, it's right way this way. So I can tell from the tip here that this side's had a little bit more wear. So, but you need to, it's like rotating tires on your car. You need to flip your bar over, preferably every few sharpenings, just flip it over, and that'll keep the wear on the bar even. Get more, hopefully get more life out of it. Now, the easiest way I found, especially with these big chains, to put them on, is to put it on the bar with it standing up. Because you need to get it introduced most of the way down to the bar before you try to go to the chainsaw with it. There you go. About a four-handed operation. Like anything else, always easier. Always easier with a little help. But take your time, you can manage. We got our bar, our chain on top of our bar. It is going the right way. I have put them on backwards. We are in our clutch. Now all you got to do, you want to make sure this chain goes in the back of your bar. There you go. Now, let me blow this side cover off and we'll put it back on. I know some people will get brake clean and just go all out about it. I'm not that concerned. I want to make sure where my oil galleries are, there's no dirt in it there, so the oil can freely flow. The rest of this, what we're going to do, we're going to stick it in a piece of wood and make it dirty. So, screwdriver. These big bars can be a little aggravating getting the pin lined up, but once you get it, it'll go right together. Okay, what I did is I backed off that adjustment knob until this side plate went on. They are designed to go together, so if they don't fit together, look at what you're doing, something might be wrong. Now, I'm going to start taking the slack out of the chain. Okay, before I go too much further, I'm going to roll it over and look at the sprocket. And that's why, because it's not on the sprocket. You want to show them that, Matthew? You see, right here is where it should be introducing itself. It's not. So I got to back it off and get it on there. have to take it apart to get it on there, but we'll try just taking all the tension out of the bar. Yeah, I'm just gonna make life easier. I'm gonna go ahead and take the bar back off. I'll say these big saws can be quite annoying trying to get everything lined up. Now, we'll pull it off the nose. Try to. There we go, so I can get a little slack. Come back here. Now, we're in the sprocket. Oh, come on. There we go. Got all my slack pulled out. And we're in the sprocket. Got our adjustment pin back in place where it goes. We'll pull a little slack out of it before I try to tighten it up. Okay, got our chain in the bar all the way around. We're good in the sprocket. Now I want to just tighten the side plate up enough to get it positioned. It's not gonna hold the chain, but it's in the correct position. Now we get this slack chain. Goes without saying, guys, when you tighten these, you need to hold up on the bar, get it in the correct position. There we go. Feels a little loose, but I'm going to crank the saw up and run it, let the chain get seated, and then we'll check it again. And chain could use just a little more tension. Tighten the bar down. And we'll give it a test run. Get Matthew to grab the camera and we'll go out here and see if it'll cut after all that work. piece of hickory. That's pretty good cutting, guys. That's a 24-inch hickory log. Takes a lot of chainsaw to cut through that. We're definitely overkill with a 4-foot bar on this, but we was just doing it to see how it cut. So I'm happy with that. It cut straight. I didn't have to finagle with it. All I had to do was hold it. That's hard enough. So, whew, I'm gonna take a break and we'll get that 372 out and work on it. Hey guys, welcome back. Went and got a bite of lunch. Now we got our Husqvarna 372 in here. I'm gonna touch it up with the chain sharpener because when I was trying to cut this bolt out, I nicked it. I cut a couple vertical lines and some horizontal lines so we could chip it out, and I bumped it with the saw. Didn't hurt the blade, but it definitely dulled it, and this machine is the quickest way to get it back square. I'm just barely taking a little bit off of it. I'll get you over here where you can hear it. You listen to it cutting, it's just barely doing a little bit of cutting. Not taking off a lot of material, just sharpening it up. Now these things, they got a roller bed and your guide arm here. When you go past it, I just lightly pull back on it, and it's got a handlebar grip which locks this, so you hold it tight. That's all it takes. It puts a sharp point right back on the end. That happened to be one I hit with the metal, so. Yeah, here's one. I don't know if you can see it. See that tooth? It's supposed to be pointing like this one. It's not. That's the one that contacted metal. It took the tip right off of it. Probably won't get that one all the way sharp because I don't want to take that much material off of it, but we'll sharpen it up some. Yeah, I still left the tip just a little bit dull, but we'll get it on the next sharpening. Like I say, this is a good tool to have around the shop if you're owning chainsaws. If you're not confident at using a file, I still recommend learning how to use a file. But if you get it out of shape, you can take this tool and get it back to cutting right. I don't like to use it because it takes off a good bit of material compared to hand filing. That rock can make this tooth disappear a whole lot quicker than you sitting there with a file raking across it. And when you file a tooth, a sharp chain that needs a little filing, you're looking at one pass down to clean the gullet and 1, 2 right across to sharpen the top. It shouldn't take any more than that. And that's it. Okay. I had already done the other side before I turned the camera on. Now, this saw is clean because actually I just worked on it the other day. Put a brand new bar on it. I can't tell you how much I like this new Husqvarna. They call it an extra tough light. It is a light bar. It makes a big difference when you grab a hold of the chainsaw to get rid of some of that nose weight. Wished I'd bought one of these a long time ago. But yeah, that was a new bar and a brand new chain, and I'm already having to sharpen it. So things happen, it's just part of life. Let me get this and put it back together, and I got that little Milwaukee battery saw. We need to definitely got to sharpen it. It's in bad shape. So same process, putting this back together. Take your chain, make sure that the cutting teeth are face forward. Well, I had this one off the other day. Well, you can see the sprocket on this one is a lot easier than that 3120. The sprocket's hidden behind the clutch, but this one, the sprocket's right here. So The other day when I ordered a new bar for it, I noticed the clutch slipping just a little bit under a real heavy load. So I went ahead and ordered a new clutch and sprocket for it. Yeah, here it is. Here's the old clutch housing and the old clutch. So it was well overdue. As well as that, you get the new needle bearings that go in the middle and all, and a new sprocket. Well, nothing wrong. Well, sprocket shows a lot of signs of wear inside. Needle bearings, I think they were going bad. I could hear it rattling every now and then. It was money well spent, especially on these caliber of saws. Like I said, they're not cheap. They're very expensive. So a little money in upkeep is well spent. Same thing with two-stroke oil. I run a Pennzoil. You can run whatever you like. Just don't buy the cheap stuff from cheap stores. You know what I mean? You pay good money for these saws. There ain't nothing wrong with using good quality stuff, good quality two-stroke oils, different things to keep them up. See how much easier that saw was to go together? There we go. And this is an old saw. It's 20 years old, but they hadn't changed anything on the modern design. It's exactly the same. They've moved the tensioner out to the side here. A whole lot easier to adjust. Okay. Like I say, when you tighten these, there's two ways of doing it. You can either grab the saw and basically load the bar, or you can grab the bar and pull up on the chain while you tighten it. And that aligns the top of that bar with your sprocket. You don't want the bar drooping. Tighten your bar up. Like I say, I always like to crank mine and just run them. That way if you had some dirt in the tip or whatever and the chain loosened up, go ahead and tighten it now while you got all your tools out. Okay, good enough. Okay, let me get this one put up and I'll go grab that battery and we'll work on it. Okay guys, got our little 18 volt Milwaukee over here. This is a good little saw if you remember what it's for, okay? It's not for felling trees. It's not for cutting limbs. It's for knocking off little things. It's more inconvenient to go grab something else. Unfortunately, you can see the chain's muddy. What I've used it for here lately is we've had a lot of logs come in the mill and the end of it's muddy, and it's more muddy than I could knock off with a wire brush. I grab that little saw and just rake it across the end and scrape all the mud off. So that's why it's dirty. You can see the saw's filthy. It needs a good cleanup. So while we got it here, we'll take the battery out and safe it. I'm gonna take the chain and the bar off. You can see our bar is upside down, so we put it back in. I want to flip it right side up. And I'm not even going to try to sharpen this with my hand because I know it's been cutting dirt and rocks. So we'll run it across our little Harbor Freight sharpener, dress it up. I hate the chain that's on it. It's got one of these little safety chains. It's got real tall rakers. Just don't ever buy one. It's what come with it. So, okay, let's get to it. These come apart just like any other chainsaw. It's got an oil tank, it just don't have a gas tank. Don't need it. And they've moved the tensioner out here. Thank you, Milwaukee. That's a good place for it. Go ahead and back it off before we even take the side cover off. Now these have the same deal. You got a chain brake, but this chain brake is integral to the chainsaw. It don't come off with the side cover. Okay, side cover, bolts. There we go. There's a little bar. I went ahead and, while I had the chain on it, and greased it. Bar's in good shape. Here, after that 48-inch chain, this looks like something you know, Mr. T'd wear around his neck. But yeah, man, I'd be ashamed treating a chain that way. But live and learn. Use the tool that's available. I'm gonna take my air hose. Oh, we got any air pressure left. Blow this thing off, because it's a mess. Like I say, the chain brake on this one is built inside against the motor. Well, I can actually see it right here around. On a regular saw, this would be your clutch drum. But on an electric saw, it don't need a clutch, but that band is wrapping around that drum. And when you lock it, that's what stops the motor. Trust me, we like our little saw, but it just hasn't took care of it lately. It's just beyond messy, but it sits there on the shelf and gets used a lot. Worst thing about this saw is it don't take gas. You got to remember to check the oil. It's got a sight glass right here, but you know, regular saw, you put oil in it every time you put gas in it. This, you just got to remember when you change batteries, give it a good quick once over. Okay. Don't want to clean on it too much. It'd be like my car or truck. It knows if it gets cleaned on too much, it's up for sale. And we ain't got no intention of selling our little chainsaw. So that should be good enough. I'm mostly interested in where the oil comes through your oil pump here to lubricate the blade. After handling the big saw, this feels like a kid's toy. So now let's set our chain sharpener up to sharpen the chain. Now, should be at a 25-degree angle. I'll have to change all the settings, up, down, in and out, because this is a completely different chain than what we were running. Get the depth set. And there we go. Let's see what that is. Oh, another little tech tip you can do to not lose track of where you started. I normally keep a Sharpie laying down here. So you can put a mark on top of a couple of these teeth. You know when it comes back around, that's where you started at. Light on action here. Oh yeah. Like I say, you want to take as little as possible, just enough to get it sharp. Okay, there's my mark. So that's the first tooth on the next side. Turn it over to 25 degrees that way. Back you up here a little bit. Why do we call this a safety chain? Well, let's see. I had a piece laying here. There you go, Matthew. Go ahead, hold this chain up here for a second. Try to show you the difference. It's inside out. It's turned over. I'll grab a piece that's over. If you look at this chain, this is a drag right here, and this other piece of metal, we call that, the industry calls it a safety chain, and it just interferes with how much wood you can introduce to the cut. Now I'll go through and I'll file them off a little bit. Now here's a non-safety chain. The only thing you got is this drag, and if you want to introduce more wood to that cutter, you just file the top of that drag off without having all this extra material on that link. This being a safety link, this being a standard. Hope that helps. Anybody that does any sawmilling, I tell you, they hate these chains. Just absolutely hate them. Because they're trying to, with that chain, I decide how much meat the saw gets. I lean into it, it gets more meat. If I let off of it, just let it saw, it gets less. This, I can't lean into it anymore because that little safety is only allowing a 1/16 of an inch to get over the safety and into the cutting edge. I'm sure somebody thought there's a good reason for it. I wholeheartedly disagree with whatever reason they come up with. So,
a Joe Blow homeowner, that's why.
Probably. So, when you put your chain back on, don't do like I have, turn it around backwards. You want the cutting facing forward. Because, trust me, Matthew did it here lately. You put that thing on, stick it in a piece of wood, it goes, nah, I don't work that way.
Yeah.
It's good, especially if you're around your buddies and you catch one of them making that mistake, you can give them a hard time about it. But you won't do it but once, twice. Join the club with the rest of us. Okay. Get the bar to advance for some reason. That's fine. Tensioner on this saw is actually right here. It's completely independent of the side cover. Makes installation real easy. Okay. Yeah, compared to the 3120s, these where the clutch is flipped around backwards is a lot easier to deal with putting back together, but you can do either one. Just takes practice. And these are easy to check because you don't have to crank them. See how we like the tension? I'm going to add just a little bit to it, and that'll do it. These things are not intended to be run banjo tight. You need to pull, I'm sure they got a formula, but if you can get about a 1/2 inch without pulling too hard, you're about where you need to be. Now the longer bar I run, the less stretch I want in it. So if this bar was 24 inches long, you know, I wouldn't want that much stretch in it, in the bar, in the chain itself. Okay, remember that's plastic. Okay, there it is. It works. So, what we learned? More chainsaws you own, the more maintenance you gotta do. There's another 066 sitting over there. There's a 395. There's an 029 down there that we're having a disagreement. It's down there in timeout because if I pick it up, it's liable to be over in the gully. So we'll
550 XP.
Yeah, and that 550 XP's over there too. So nothing wrong getting mad at a chainsaw every now and then and just lay it down. Me and it was having a bad day that day, and I'll pick it up later when I feel better. Yeah. More chainsaws you own, the more maintenance you'll do. You don't have to have all the parts and pieces I do. You can go buy single chains. I've bought them for years. We got plenty of boxes here, single chains. But We've narrowed it down to a couple saws we run a lot, that 372 and that 066. They run the same size chain, and I can buy it by the roll and make it a lot cheaper, a lot more convenient. I don't have to have 10 boxes sitting on the shelf. I just got to roll a chain if I want a 20, 24, 32, whatever. That 395 has a 24-inch bar on it, I think. Yeah. This is what I grew up on. I sawed a lot of wood on that thing. An old McCullough, hand oiler. And this was the modern one. The one I had, yeah, right here. Hand oiler. You had to get your hand down by the bar chain to oil it. That's what I was running when I was 8, 9 years old. Couldn't carry it. Have to walk over to the log and lay it on there, and you lay it in a log and you're running. Now these saws run at slow RPM, so I mean, just guessing 5,000 to 6,000, if that. And you're sitting there and you're holding up on one hand, you reach over and pump the oiler. We've come a long way, people. A long way. And that was an improvement over what my dad had. Oh, axe, hatchet, you know, when they was growing up, or a saw, hand saw. So yeah, the good old days wasn't that good. I like this modern stuff. Anything else, Matthew? You got any questions on chainsaw maintenance? This is not a chainsaw shop. We don't port, we don't polish, we don't time, we don't make them hot. We just try to maintain them, keep them working right. And you do that by putting quality parts on them, keeping them clean. I didn't show you that 372 because I just worked on it, but it's got a brand new air filter. You know, cheap insurance, keep new air filters on them occasionally. Just like any other tool, it'll last as long as you take good care of it. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope it's helpful. You know, a little bit of chainsaw maintenance. Bad things happen. You hit bolts, you know. Yeah, I mean, just go on with life. That's about a $75 chain that bolt wrecked. So that's why I called the customer to have that discussion. But got any questions, comments, leave them below. Big shout out to Matthew and Solomon doing all our videos. That's a lot of work, people. A lot of work. If you've never done any YouTube editing, keep it up with it. And especially us doing 3 videos a week, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Matthew's been bugging me here lately, trying to get ahead, because we're going to take a vacation here in a few weeks, and he wants to take a week off and not worry about editing those stinking videos. But guys, we appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed, I hope we can earn your subscription. If you would, like I say, like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends about us. We're just normal people doing normal everyday stuff. Hope you find it entertaining, and like I say, we appreciate it. That's going to do it. We'll see you back at the mill.
Thank you for watching. Here's a video selection and a playlist suggestion. Click here to subscribe for more great content. We'll see you at the mill.